All right, Shalom. It's your brother Kushab. Come back at you another lesson. Before I get started, I want to give all praises, glory, infinite honors unto Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashim, Rachakodash, give honors to the apostles and the others, great millstone. Tell me the truth, rule well, and peace, blessings, and salutations be to those who elect. Slack it. As well as those that believe in the gospel and may even endure it to the end, Lord willing. All right. And I just want to get into a quick hit today, a quick lesson. Basically, I was listening to some information on Kim Iverson. All right. And basically, I let a little bit play. All right, just to show you. And as you can see, the title of the video, it says a former Pentagon official, America is closer to collapse than you think. All right. And, it's a couple hours ago it dropped. Right now, Lord will, I leave it in the description box. Hopefully I remember this time. All right. But, we're going to get straight into it. All right. Because as we come up on the 250th anniversary of America. All right. And, through Elder Apostle Hall, different brothers, different elder men of Great Millstone going into how, these kingdoms, these empires only last for, roughly 250 years, right? Seeing, that so-called anniversary of America is tomorrow, I believe. All right. Showing that, by this information coming out, showing that, this place is more fried and cooked than you think. All right. And at the sudden, a lot of shit is going to go left. All right. Excuse my French. All right. But I'm going to let this play a little bit, right, for a couple minutes. And I might pause it to make some points, but I got a few precepts. So Lord willing is edifying.
And there's far more than that. Nanotechnology is another new technology that a lot of people are warning about. Could cause a gray goo disaster that kills plant life across continents. There's all kinds of threats we face. And some of them are old. I mean, we've had asteroid strikes. We've had super volcano eruptions that block sunlight for years and destroy crops worldwide. There's over 50 trigger events, is what we call them, that we track in our probability of collapse model. And then we have experts, several dozen experts. We just updated it a little over a year ago. They review the threats and then they...
Right, so basically they have this analysis or some kind of model which they, think can trigger basically, what do you fit? Can trigger what would be a collapse of the society, all right? Collapse of the financial system, right? Everything, and we know that that too must come to pass, all right, pursuing the biblical prophecy, man, all right?
Ask themselves, what's the likelihood of this happening? And we have a high-low range because it is uncertain. And then what's the likelihood that something like this happens that will lead to a collapse? Again, economy stops functioning, law and order breaks down because if people aren't getting food in their grocery stores, if the grid's down and water isn't flowing, you're going to start dying. And most people will go out and steal food, maraud, kill if necessary to survive. So we add up the probability of collapse from these 50 different trigger events, and when you add them all together and then do a statistical adjustment to avoid double count, we end up with an annual estimate that there's a probability of collapse anywhere it's likely from 16 to 57% per year. It is not low. The probability of an asteroid strike in a year is very, very low. The probability of supervolcano earthquake eruption is very, very low. But H5N1 pandemic, the experts are saying it's inevitable. We are going to have a human-to-human transmissible version of H5N1, which historically has been 50% lethal.
And this is not medical advice or medical information, right? It's the honor graduate of the U.S. Air Force Army is with a master's and PhD in public policy and operations research from Harvard University is just putting out information, just a quick disclaimer. All right. But you can see, he came out basically said, this is it's inevitable, that something is going to happen to where it's going to cause this place to fall. All right. And I'm talking about totally fall. All right. So something is inevitable that's going to cause this place to fall, man. Whether it be another outbreak, all right, which there's more rumors of that, right? We've seen earthquakes in diverse places, right? All of the things that the Lord said, the signs to look for, is here, man. All right. It's nothing else to kind of debate oh, this, that, and the third. No, it's only a matter of time, right, before something else happens to where America is just totally gonna fall, man. All right. I think it was a couple more seconds. Let me check real quick.
And when that happens, yes, you're absolutely going to have a collapse. So you add up 50 different trigger events, and it's not a low likelihood of collapse. It's very, very high. I'm surprised we haven't had a bioengineered pandemic yet. I'm surprised we haven't. So the probability of collapse is very, very high.
I mean, I think we just did have one. Wait a minute, didn't we just have a bioengineered pandemic? Didn't we just come out of that?
Yeah, it's going to be another one, though.
That was the one, but it wasn't a severe enough one to cause a collapse. So again, something could happen, a disaster, but the next step in our models, what's the likelihood that it leads to a collapse? And so if you have a low level, low lethality pandemic, that's not going to stop people from going to work. That's not going to trigger a collapse.
When I got a pay cut, Dave helped me get cash, up to $500 in 5 minutes or less.
Interesting.
Yeah, but that was pretty much it. All right, basically, he's putting it out there. That's something, all right, in which he put it in the range of 16 to 57%. All right, which basically is better than a 50-50 chance, man. All right, when you actually analyze the, go into the data. All right, when you analyze the numbers, all right, it's better than a 50-50 chance that this place is gonna fall within the coming months. All right. And, we all know this devil, he likes to lie, right? He plays on words, right? He plays on the data, all right? But you actually have these, people like these economists, right? These certain guys that go on these different talk shows like Redacted, Kim Iverson, right? All these different preppers and, different things like that, and they come out there with the real information, right? Now, being at a 50-50 chance, all right, of society falling, all right, telling you there's 50 different trigger events that can just make America just one chip fall. We all understand that all of those dominoes are going to fall right after it. All right. Now, we can already see it happening because of the whole war that, Nero 47 started, all right, with Iran because of the small hats, right? That's one chip. Now, you have an already fragile economy, all right, a constant climbing of inflation leading to what? A total collapse, right? Because some things for America right now are just not sustainable. So if this place get hit with some kind of plague or outbreak, it's over with, man, all right? That's why, brothers say you got to pray to stop working, right? Because when that happens, we ain't gonna be worried about paying bills, We ain't gonna be worried about how we gonna make it. No, we gonna be in the midst of all out hell, man. All right, and he told you, he put it straight. He took it right out of 2nd Esdras, the 15th chapter, man. Telling you that people are gonna be doing what they see fit, right? Because it's not gonna be going to work, making money, going to the store, buying things. It's gonna be a lack of food, lack of supplies. Right, I just went into a lesson a couple of days ago going into how Trump declared a national emergency, all right, for the food supply, man. You see? So if you people out there think that these things are a game, all right, in which, the chick kind of opened up the video going into how a lot of people think that, moving day to day, all right, their day to day is never going to change, People think that nothing is going to change, really and truly. When you actually look at the mindset of the people, right? Let me see if she said it in the very beginning.
Well, most of us live as if tomorrow is going to look pretty much like today. And we assume the lights are going to come on, the grocery stores are going to stay stocked, the internet will work, and the basic systems that we rely on will just, keep functioning. But what if that's a dangerous assumption? We have a growing risk of major war, cyber attacks, economic instability, fragile supply chains, deep political division. There are a lot of people who believe we're entering a period where society itself could face some very serious shocks. I think actually most of us feel that way. The question isn't just whether something could go wrong, it's whether we're anywhere close to being prepared if it does. Joining me now is someone who's...
Right, and that's on point, man. And what you call all of those things that she said and listed, you call that end time prophecy. All right, the fear of the unknown. All right, because that's what happens, when people don't understand prophecy. They don't understand what's the future. They can't predict the future. Well, the Bible predicts the future. And Yahweh Bashim Yahushua has blessed us with that unction, that special endowment to know and understand the things that are getting ready to happen, man. All right? Because people fear what they don't know. But the things that we know is going to be what? The things that keep us stable, man. As it says in Isaiah 33:6. Wisdom and knowledge is going to be the stability of our times, man. But let's get this in Zephaniah chapter 1, verse 10. It says, and it shall come to pass in that day, said the Lord Yahweh, there shall be the noise of a cry from the fish gate. You see? And which, I'll read it out. It says, and a howling from the second, and a great crashing from the hills, right? Which this is synonymous, which this is a prophecy pursuing that the crash, all right, of the government of America, man. All right. It says, how ye inhabitants of Magtesh, for all the merchant people are cut down, all they that bear silver are cut off. All right. All of this insider trading that Trump got going on, and this devil getting so bold with it, he's basically telling you that, well, look, I'm inside trading. He basically came out and said, if my sons wanted to buy a car, they would have the inside scoop on that, But all of these merchant people are going to be cut down, man. All of those people that get rich and bear silver, all of it, they're going to be cut off, man. Why? Because this system, the financial system that's in place now, it's going to go away. It's going to crash. You see? That's why there's going to be a crashing from the hills. When you look at the actual stock market, right? When you look at a graph or a data sheet, it's nothing but hills, right? Well, we're going to see how they go up and down, up and down, up and down. And one day they just going to flatline, man. Just like the machine that, tracks your heartbeat when you're in the hospital. It beeps, it beeps, it beeps. And then when a person dies, what happens? It flatlines, right? And that's what's going to happen to America, man. America is getting ready to just totally flatline, all right? And it ain't going to be no more saving this place. That's what it says in Jeremiah 51. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. You see? Howl for her. Take balm for her pain. If so, she may be healed, man. But this place is not going to be healed, all right? That's it for this whole America, man. Which is why it tells you in Revelation the 18th chapter that all the merchants, all right, want to be wailing, because of that great city, man. And I'm just quoting and paraphrasing, some of these scriptures because I don't really, have much time to get through all of them. All right. Now let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 3. It says, in the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few, and those that look out of the windows be darkened, and the doors shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low, and he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and the daughters of music shall be brought low. You see? So it says the keepers of the house, when you start at the top, in that day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, right? And that's why you have, all of these economists, all right, all of these people that keep up, what you go into that word economist, it means a household management, all right? Those are people that are managing the house, man, telling you to buy, to sell, to trade, to stop trading, right? These people that manage the different stocks, right? That's what keeps this place afloat, right? Along with the middle class, you see? But they are trembling now. They're telling you, look, man, the outlook for America is bleak, You got a lot of people, more people leaving the country than actually moving here to stay. Why? Because the American dream is dead. The American nightmare is flourishing more than it ever has before. You see? It says, and the doors shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low, and he shall rise up at the voice of the bird. And we can see that the doors of the streets, all right, are being shut. There's no jobs, right? They keep lying and telling you, oh, we added 40,000 jobs this month. Well, how you add 40,000 jobs when you have all of these major tech companies cutting hundreds of thousands of jobs every month, right? They just straight up lying, you know? But we can clearly see that this place is cooked. It's done, man. All right? It ain't gonna be no more America, all right, for much longer, you know? But that's pretty much the point. Like I said, it's gonna be a quick lesson, which I'm kind of out of time, you know. So Lord willing, it was edifying. Until the next time, I say shalom.